Long top of the first inning for Jake Stevenson, Kane County Cougars starter, able to escape allowing one run. His offense picked him up with a response of their own, and we're all square heading to the second. It'll be 7, 8, and 9 due up for Lake Country. What should Stevenson's adjustment be?
He's got to get ahead. He had a rough time after retiring. Zuber and Stewart fell behind to O'Keefe, Hernandez, and Ray, all back to back to back. It's tough when you only have 3 pitches, and when you rarely use the slider to begin with, only 5% of the time. He hasn't thrown the slider all season when he's behind in counts. So Lake Country was able to sit and just look for that fastball and cutter duo.
More balls than strikes in the first inning for Jake Stevenson. Curious to see how patient Lake Country will be in the second. It's Hayden Dunhurst, the former Cougar. Was a Miles Wolf Cup champion with Kane County last year. Playoff run started against Lake Country after the DockHounds won the final 6 meetings between Kane County and Lake Country last year in the regular season. Kane County punched the DockHounds in the face, winning both games in the East Division Series and allowing just 1 run. With the DockHounds a chance to clinch their postseason berth tonight, would be neat if they can do it tonight at the place where their 2024 season came to an end.
You said it best in last night's promotional video. Chance for some sweet revenge. Lake Country faithful going to be keeping an eye on the Kansas City-Milwaukee game, of course.
Fly ball, shallow right center. Trendon Craig easing up. Leadoff batter retired. I take a look at the score from Franklin Field on Game Live, and the Kansas City Monarchs lead 1-0 already. That's the result Lake Country is looking for. A Milkman loss and a DockHounds win. And Lake Country will be the first team in the East Division to clinch their Miles Wolf Cup playoff berth. Demetrius Sims takes ball 1. Another pitch spiked on the glove side from Stevenson.
It's an emphasis of trying to establish that part of the zone. D'Alessandro's called plenty of pitches at that spot. He's just overemphasizing trying to get it there.
Sims playing for the 3rd consecutive day at Northwestern Medicine Field. Great sign that he's starting to feel better. Missed nearly a month with a knee injury. Still has to be very particular with the stretches that he does. He's always taking good care of his body, even more so now that he's hampered a bit. Hitters count 3-1. So much easier to hit when you can essentially eliminate the slider in these counts.
Hunt your pitch and do the most damage you can.
Fouled and it's full. 94 on the gun, which we have talked about all week. Typically cold here at Northwestern Medicine Field, or slow. So that could have been 95 from Stevenson, and we saw him pump a couple of those at Wisconsin Brewing Company Park last Monday. Was the starter in the first no-hitter in Wisconsin Brewing Company Park history. The 2nd of the season for the Cougars. Payoff to Demetrius Sims. Fouled back.
And to throw 7 hitless in a spot start.
It was easily the best start of Stevenson's career. And he allowed 4 earned runs against the Milkmen over the weekend at Franklin Field. 7th pitch of the at-bat. In sight, the 3rd walk drawn by Lake Country the first time through. We are yet to see Demetrius Sims attempt to steal a base since returning from his injury. He was dancing a bit last night, which leads me to believe that he may be thinking more about it. as Chavez Young comes to the plate. Sims working on his lead, and he'll share a good laugh with Marcus Chu and Mayhew Edwards over at first base. Young smoked the ball to right field last night. It's the hardest hit ball since his return to the DockHounds. Pick over to first, and Sims back in safely. He was leaning.
Quick feed on the mound. Got a healthy lead the pitch prior, and Stevenson a snap throw over.
Still 1-0 to Xavi. Now 2-0, and that's one of the rare arm side misses we have seen from Stevenson, but that's where he missed on ball 4 to Sims. Last batter in Lake Country's lineup, a hitter's count. Lifted down the line in right field, but out in front, foul.
Searching for more mid-nines. He slows it down to 91 and out in front.
The fourth DockHounds batter to be in a hitter's count in their first look at Jake Stevenson tonight. Now 2-1. Young takes inside. Once again, a hitter's count, 3-1.
That one didn't miss by much, but when your command hasn't been there, what you're expecting from your outing, it's really tough to have those 50-50 calls swing your way for Ken Jackson.
Ball 4, fourth walk for Lake Country tonight. An adventure the first time through the order for Jake Stevenson. 21 balls to 17 strikes. Back-to-back walks. Now 2 on, 1 down. Lineup flips over for Ray Zuber III. George Samus, one of the busiest managers in the American Association. Look inside the Cougars' first base dugout. Ball 1 to Ray Zuber III. We saw a mound visit from David Holmberg, the pitching coach of the Kane County Cougars in the first inning. Can't imagine he'll want to take a trip to the bump here in the second. Top of the zone. Stevenson evens the count with the cutter.
Late break. Zuber gave up on that one a bit earlier.
Plenty of speed on the base paths for the DockHounds. In the dirt, both runners trying to advance, and they will. Right at the feet of Nick D'Alessandro, the catcher. Now 2 in scoring position. No more chance to turn 2 for the Cougars.
And that is gut instinct from both base runners. Reading that ball before it actually ends up in the dirt in front of D'Alessandro, but reading the trajectory out of the hand, seeing that, all right, this ball is not going to reach its home plate on line. Extend your secondary lead, add another shuffle, and then as soon as you see it kick away from D'Alessandro, you're off.
Zuber with 37 runs batted in this season. The Cougars infield drawn in. Zuber drills this deep to right field. Alex McGarry racing back into the gap. He's looking up, and it bounces over the wall. A ground rule double for Ray Zuber III. His 13th two-bagger of the year. Plates a pair, and Lake Country's back in front, 3-1.
It's a great sight to see for Zubes. Towering fly ball lifted out to his power alley. Tracks it all the way, and if we're up in the 5-0s, maybe we're celebrating a bit more, but regardless, another great sight for Lake Country.
25 runs batted in the last 33 games for RZ3. As Stewart takes ball 1 high. Six of the 9 DockHounds have reached already against Jake Stevenson. The other 3 are victims of Trendon Craig in center. Stewart testing Craig again out towards the right center field gap. He'll get there, and Zuber will tag. Twice now that Stewart has flown out in that right center field gap. Makes it even more impressive that Ray Zuber III was able to find it.
Hitting to his favorite part of the park, and for Dante, another lengthy swing to get it out to the opposite field. Pushed it far out of Craig's reach, far enough out of his reach, where his momentum's carrying him out to the right center gap far away enough so that Zuber can advance.
O'Keefe goes on the check swing. Stevenson ahead, strike one. O'Keefe walked in his first plate appearance. Line to center, right at Trendon Craig. Two more for the DockHounds. They have runs in both halves against Jake Stevenson, and Lake Country leads 3-1.